Hey everybody, welcome to the talk show with DJ Gatsby. I'm your host, Jeff Gatsby Wilson. We're waiting for my guest, Antoine Inch Thomas. I think he's out of Harlem, Bronx, somewhere in New York City. He's going to be on the show to tell us exactly where he's from and what he's doing. He's an author, he's an actor. I understand he has worked on films as well, maybe a film producer, but he's going to be joining us in just a minute. In the meantime, I want to thank my guest yesterday. Came on the show is Kelvin Smith. He's an author of the book, The Unlikely Candidate, the story of a heart transplant survivor. He recently had a heart transplant, and he wrote a book about it. And he shared that story with us as my guest yesterday. He also comes from a very athletic family. His son played in NFL. His brother also played in NFL, Keith Bullock, and his son did as well. So, we want to thank them for coming on yesterday. We got my man Antoine in the building. Yo, can you hear me, my brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, brother?
All right, we good, man. Thanks for chiming in, man. I got the show started a little bit. Thanking my guest from yesterday. Had a brother on here, heart transplant recipient. He wrote a book about that whole episode in his life, and it was real cool, man. Gave a lot of people some encouragement and faith, because health is really good. Anyway, man. Antoine Inch Thomas in the building. Everybody, welcome to the DJ Gatsby Show. Now, my brother, I don't really know too much about you. Follow you on Facebook and Instagram. I was heavy in the book game as a book promoter. I had a book club. I had a TV show, public access TV show that I had down in DC back in 2014, 15, I think, and 16, where I kind of got familiar with a lot of urban street lit authors in the game. You were one of the brothers that I saw, although I never met you. I've seen, some of the places you've been, some of the people you've met, particularly following you on your Facebook page, man. So congratulations on your success in the book game. But before we talk about all of that, just tell people who you are, where you're from, man, and what it is that you do.
All right. Well, first of all, Gatsby, I want to say thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. I've been following you for quite some time too, and I remember the impact you've had in the literary game, and I just want to let you know that authors like myself, we appreciate you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It means a lot to hear that from brothers like you, man. It really does, man.
That's what's up. So my name is Antoine Inch Thomas. I'm an author, a screenwriter. I hail out of the Bronx, New York. I wrote my first novel in 2003, and I released it February 2004.
Okay.
And I've been in the book game ever since. I have published 17 titles.
Wow.
6 were my own, maybe another 5 I co-wrote. And I was just, trying to create a platform for other gentlemen like myself to be able to display their talent like I was searching for in the beginning. I had sought out several publishing companies and was denied by everyone because I didn't have a literary agent. And for those who don't know what a literary agent is something like a manager. Okay. Your agent is the one who goes to these publishing companies and they speak for you because they feel like a lot of people aren't professional enough to handle it themselves. And besides, they feel like the artist should be just worrying about their craft. So these larger companies that were the only thing established at the time, I was submitting my material to them and everybody was like, nah, we good. We don't want you. So I said to myself, maybe I need to do it on my own. I did a little research, got my name trademarked. Nowadays, you can go on websites and get your company's trademark. But back then, we had to use entertainment attorneys. So I used an attorney, got my company, Amaya Entertainment, LLC Publishing. That was established. I got my first book printed up, and the rest is history in regards to my book history. Okay,
now, so you said you published your first book. You said 2003.
Yes, sir.
Now, what motivated you to get in the book game? I asked a lot of authors, what inspired them to write a book? Where did they want to be authors? Is it something that changed their life or something that happened? In your situation, what motivated you to write a book and even self-publish?
In 2003, I was incarcerated I was on a downhill of my bid. And I had bumped into, I was trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do with myself once I returned to the free society. I had done a little rapping for a little while, and I thought I was decent, but when I was learning some of the music industry, I figured I would have to, once I came home, I would have to then get with a label, probably have to go through what they call artist development. That may take a couple of years. I might join a team who has a whole bunch of artists that are also shelved, and I just didn't want to sit around. So I said, that's not the avenue that I want to go. In the meantime, what I was doing to, I guess, have, stay busy during my time, we would do talent shows at different facilities. And one particular facility I was at in Ohio, I did a little talent show, and I went up against a guy from Philadelphia. Shortly after that, the gentleman, he moved to another prison or whatever. About a year after that, I transferred as well. When I transferred, we both ended up at the next facility. And I was asking him about his, was he still pursuing his music and his music career? And he was like, nah, I wrote a book. So I was an avid reader at the time. I was. And James Patterson was actually one of my favorite authors. He still is. And I was into him, James Patterson, John Grisham. I had read The Coldest Winter Ever, Autobiography of Malcolm X. I was reading everything, really.
Yeah, okay.
And so homeboy was like, yo, I wrote this book based on my life. And I was like, yo, you in here just like me. I wonder how good it could be. So he was like, why don't you check it out? So I read it, and I was immediately inspired. I was impressed. I was like, wow. It was something I was able to relate to. And it was written well, and it was very interesting. His name is Jimmy the Saint. He's he's out of Philadelphia, and he's doing a lot of big things. He's into movies. He's into film. He's still doing his literary work. He has a lot going on. So shout out to Jimmy the Saint out of Philadelphia. But he was like, yo, I think everybody has a story in them. It's just up to them to want to tell it, and they have to know how to tell it. So as soon as he said that, the following day I started writing my book. And 8 days later, I had the first draft completed.
All right, so you wrote your first book while you was doing the bid.
Yes, sir.
In 8 days. Yes, sir. So you were definitely dedicated, motivated. As being a rapper, MC, or something like that, you're actually a writer anyway. You're a writer, you're a storyteller, you're a poet, you're a spoken word artist. They're all words, whether you put them, in print or you spit them in rhyme. So it seems like the writing part came easy for you. All right, so now you write that first book, and you're still incarcerated, but you waited till you came home to publish it, or where were you at when you actually, started the process of publishing that book?
Well, actually, out of the 17 novels that I published 15 while still being incarcerated.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, my wife helped me out. I had a conversation one day on a visit with the wife, and I said, look, I have this idea. I think we could bring it to fruition. I just need the legwork to be done on the outside. I'll take care of everything else. I'll do the writing. I'll even do the business side of everything. I just need you to do the legwork. So we formulated this plan. And again, going back to the music industry, at the time, for independent artists, if you could garner a strong fan base in the 3 surrounding cities or counties from where you're from, larger labels would then take interest in you. So I said, you know what? If I can get the attention of New York City, New Jersey, and Connecticut with my book, then maybe some of these larger publishing companies would, come and sit down and talk to me again after being rejected by them. So my peoples was with it, and I just said, you know what? We're going to print some books up. I know there's a lot of people reading books nowadays. Just have the book bag full of books, go on a train, and read the book every day on your way to work. Somebody's going to ask you, what's that book about? Where did you get that book from?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where it started. And I gave a lot of people books in my neighborhood. A lot of people were supporting from the neighborhood, without a doubt. And then word traveled. And then one day, a gentleman, he's another author. His name is Anthony White. I believe Anthony is out of the Bronx. I'm not sure. But Anthony White, a mutual friend introduced Anthony White to my wife. And Anthony said, look, check this out. The Africans run the book game. They run the literary situation.
You mean on the street? You mean on the street, though?
Street.
Like,
yeah.
In the hood, New York. Well, you're right. Street vendors in New York selling books everywhere, man.
Absolutely. So he said there's like 1 or 2 major players that are Africans that distribute to all of the vendors all throughout the 5 boroughs and New Jersey and Connecticut. So I was like,
okay.
All right. He said, well, let us get some books and we'll see how they move. He bought a case. A couple of hours later, he bought a couple of more cases. And then he sat back down and said, look, I don't know how many books you guys have, but I want to buy all of them.
All right. Hold on. So now the first print run of your first book, while you're still doing the bid, your wife's out here basically doing the legwork with the books. And you connect, with street vendors, like you said, these brothers in New York, African New York, they had connections all over. And that was your first book that you did while you were still incarcerated? Yes, sir. It was called Flowers Bed. Flowers Bed. I'm familiar with that book. I saw that book on your Facebook page. It was called, now that was Flowers Bed. Yes, sir. Now, that particular book, is that the one that gave you the success that made you feel like you made it, or like you had a future in this business? Because I saw, I think it was 1 or 2 volumes in that series. Is that the book that launched your career? You know what? I had actually written a book called No Regrets. No Regrets is a personal story, really close and dear to my heart. Okay. That was the first book that I wrote. And at the time, Triple Crown Publishing out of Ohio, by Vicky Stringer. I'm familiar with her. They were like the new machine at the time. So I had sent my work to them. Author Shannon Holmes, who's also from the Bronx, and he's the author of Be More Careful. He was consulting with her at the time. And when I sent her the manuscript, he responded to me. He said, yo, Inch, check this out. I read your book. I know a little bit about your story, but you need to understand the main readers out there and the main fan base are females. Your main character is a male. You need to write a story with the main character is a female, and then come back and holler at us. So, I'm good with accepting criticism. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna sit back down. So I sat back down and I was trying to think of what are common obstacles that women were facing in the Black community, because that was my market. And I ended up talking about rape within the family. Okay. So okay. Yeah, so Flowers Bed is about a young lady who had been molested by her dad. And, she's trying to go through the struggles of growing up with this situation clouding her and kind of interrupting her growth and development. So when I wrote that one, at the time I had already gained some knowledge on how to self-publish. So I didn't go to anyone else. I printed it up myself, and then I just, put it out there in the streets and was good from there. So that book, Flowers Bed, which is the second novel that I wrote, that's the one that launched my career. And from 2003 to date, I sold 90,000 copies of that book. Oh, wow. Congratulations, man. Those real numbers right there, man. Those books on the street, this combination of everything that you've done, those are good numbers. All right. So you got your career. You got the book business going on. Your wife is running everything out here. When you come home, how does that change? Because now you're home. Now you gotta, market, advertise, and promote your books in person. People get to see you out on the street, or you going to book fairs, book expos. You're doing launch parties. I've seen pictures of you at the Harlem Book Fair and other places, man. When you come home, how does that change for you now? Because now you're in front of your fans, you're in front of readers on the street. Well, I definitely was focused before I came home. I had a plan. I had it written down. And even as early as being released in the halfway house, when at the time I wasn't working or anything, I had contacted bookstores and I told them that, I'm now home, because a lot of bookstores, they were owned by brothers like you and I, and they understood the situation with many authors who were, incarcerated. The mom and pop bookstores. You mean the mom and pop in the hood? I get you. Absolutely. So I let them know I was home, and I said, look, the halfway house is going to give me a pass to look for a job, but I'm going to actually do a book signing. So I'm telling them that I'm going to your bookstore to interview for a job, and we're going to do a book signing. And that's how I did in the beginning until I started working and I had passes to be able to come out. But as soon as I came home, I got a list of all of the bookstores that my peoples was familiar with and that a lot of people had frequented to
purchase those books. And I was just going there and I was doing book signings. And that's pretty much how I introduced myself to the fans and the readers and the game, by just slowly, setting up book signings.
All right, well, with numbers like that and you coming home, a lot of cats write books while they're incarcerated, or they write stories based on the experiences, on the street. So now you're home. There's a lot of authors out there. A lot of authors from Harlem, New York City, like you said, surrounding areas, DC, Philly. How do you meet, the other players in the game? Because now you're in that circle. You got a seat at the table. You're well respected, obviously, as an author. Who were some of the authors that you met or gravitated to when you came home? Like who you admired their work or their hustle?
Well, first and foremost, before being a writer, I was an avid reader. So there was many authors that I had admired and respected, and
Sure.
And was humbled by and inspired by to do my thing. So
There you go.
My wife being out there in the trenches, establishing the company, she met a lot of authors first. So during our visits, we would talk about that. And when I came home, when I would go to a book signing, like let's say the Harlem Book Fair, where there's several authors who are going to be present.
I've been there before a couple of times.
When I had gone there, I would just, humble myself and introduce myself to these authors. And some of the first people I met was Quan, really big fan of Quan, J.M. Benjamin, Eric Gray, Anthony White, Terry Woods.
Yep.
It's so many of them out there that I had met in the beginning.
Yeah.
And they all welcomed me with open arms. They were all really cool people, really great individuals. I never had any bad experiences, or none of them rubbed me the wrong way or anything. I think they all were positive gentlemen and motivated.
Yeah, that's what I like about the book business. When I was an avid reader as well. 2014, I'm in DC, and I go to a book expo, National Harbor. I think it's La Femme Fatale Publishing. I forget the name. I forget who runs that. But I went there, and funny story, man. They, if you had to pay $20 to get in, and you get a book, unless you were a book club founder or had a book club. So right there on the spot, DJ Gatsby's book club was born. Right there. I'm thinking quick. All right, I got a book club with DJ Gatsby's book club. I come in there and I meet the authors, very friendly, very supportive. They all got along well. A lot of them were meeting each other for the very first time, and I felt really welcomed into that circle as a avid reader and a book reviewer. So I understand what you're saying when you say when you came out and you meet these authors, man, they all in the game. They, everybody knows the struggle. Everybody knows how this is, and it's like a fraternity, with authors, urban lit, street lit, Christian fiction, the other authors that are out there. All right, so you go to the Harlem Fair, you start meeting authors, your books are doing well. Now I'm following your story basically through Twitter and Facebook, not Twitter, through Facebook and Instagram. You gravitate towards other business. We're gonna get back to the books in a minute, but you gravitate to other businesses. I see you got the 848 shirt on. In your bio, you had mentioned an actor. You also in the film business. So after you're successful in the books, and it seems like you moving on to other challenges, what was your next venture? After the publishing, was it the films? Was it the clothing line? Was it the acting? What do you do after you feel like you got the books in hand and you're making your next move?
Well, I had owned 2 bookstores for like 5 years while I was still promoting my books, and it made it much easier because I had my own establishment. I could push my book as well as other authors.
Sure.
I was pushing a book, so I met a lot of people through that. But one day I was at the barbershop, and first of all, almost every author that I've met, they would love to see their work on the big screen.
But everybody, I've been in the game for a minute, interviewing people and supporting others. Everybody feels their book is worthy to be brought to the big screen and big film, and that's just confidence in your product. That's confidence in your work. So yeah, man.
Absolutely, and I was one of those people. I was like, I think one of my books would do great, and it'll be, you know, dope to be on big screen. However, being a realist, I was like, I don't think they're gonna let me in Hollywood. So that's probably, you know, really far-fetched. I had no idea about the film industry. I didn't know anybody in the film industry.
Sure.
And one day I was at the barbershop, and my barber was like, yo, there's this web series on YouTube. These guys out of Brooklyn, they got a nice little dope show. I think you should check it out. And I was like, I've never watched a TV show on YouTube, only music videos. So I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna pass on that. The following week, he was like, yo, did you check it out? I was like, nah. He said, trust me, check it out. So a couple of days go by. I go on YouTube. I look it up. There was a show called Money and Violence. And I actually liked it. I watched about 6 or 7 episodes, and I was hooked. They were still filming it at the time, so they might have been only up to like 10 episodes. So I reached out to my nephew. His name is Nitty. Nitty had his own little crew of homeboys, and they were doing some filming because Nitty had a little grocery store in the Bronx on Webster Avenue. And him and all his homeboys would be together, and they'll be doing their thing. And because they would always have fun, they wanted to create a reality show based on the activities that went on in the store.
Okay.
So
all right.
I said, Nitty, I said, Nitty, you have a little crew established, and I fuck with all of y'all. You also have a cameraman on deck.
Yeah.
See what's up with him. Ask him would he mind shooting the show. But first, I want y'all to check it out so y'all have an idea what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So all of his little crew, they started watching the show. About a week later, they say, yo, we down. We'll be in it as long as you make us some main characters. So I started writing. Maybe a couple of months later, we started filming. And that's pretty much how we got into season 1 of 848.
So 848 is the name of the web series.
Yes, sir.
Is that your first project that you did on for film?
Yes, it is. Very first film project.
Screenplay, or is it based on a book?
No, it's original. It's an original piece. I had no idea that I was going to go more than one season. It was the work was developing as I was writing, sort of like when you're putting together a book. But screenwriting is very different from novel writing.
Yeah, I was going to ask. And cut you off. That's why I'm asking about that, because a lot of times with authors, and they have their books go to film, it's based on the book, and the book has to be converted into a screenplay. So you're saying just an original screenplay, not based on a book that you did for your web series, and that's talent, man. Where did you get the screenwriting talent? Because some people write like a screenplay. You know, they write very visual.
Yeah, well, you know what I had to learn, and again, humble myself, because as authors, we have total control. If we are an independent author, we have total control of all of our work that we write. When you're doing a screenplay, the only thing you're writing is dialogue, what the characters are talking about. Now, you can tell the director where you want the scene to be at and your idea of the scene, but it's up to the director to bring it to life. Fortunately, the director in my project, he and I are really close friends. We're like family. So I was able to write a little bit of the visual and the scenery into the script and give him a better idea of how I want things to go. So there is no narration. You know, being an author, I can create a whole visual of a situation. I could write an entire scene that could be 4 or 5 pages without any dialogue. I'm just explaining everything that's going on. Yeah,
you're telling you're setting up a scene. You're telling people what's going on, where you at, what's doing. You're basically like an observer telling people what's going on. I get that part.
Yes, sir. But screenplay, there is none of that. You have to be, and it's difficult to write an hour-long or half-hour-long show without any narration. You just writing dialogue for 30 minutes. That's a long conversation.
Yeah, that's why I didn't mean to interrupt you, because I know about the screenwriting process. I've worked with authors. I've worked with film producers, cameraman, casting people, scene location. A lot of those things go into play when you're doing a film. That's why I was asking you about that part. Now, were you an executive producer? Were you associate director, or you just wrote the screenplay? Because for this particular web series, I didn't get a chance to look at it yet.
Well, I wrote the whole show. co-produced, and I say co-produced because the cameraman, you know, we worked together with creating all of the ideas after the work was written. So co-produced, and whenever I'm on set, I'm also co-directing. Even though I trust him to do his thing, when I'm on set, again, I have a visual in my head of how I want things to go, because ideas from novel versus the same idea on camera can look totally different. So I may have an idea of characters interacting a certain way. Behind the camera, he'll say, well, I need them to do this, and I need them to walk like this or talk like this. And I might think that, no, it doesn't look right, until I get behind the camera and see that it does work. So it is a little bit of work. It is a little different. However, I've gotten used to it now. So now I'm able to write the way it will be seen through a lens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you're a screenwriter. Obviously, I haven't looked at the work, but I've read a little bit about it and some of the accolades that you've gotten. Now, as I was following you, is this the web series that you won an award for, or that you were recognized for in some way? This particular web series we're talking about, the 848? Yes.
Maybe about 5 years ago, when the web series exploded onto the YouTube scene, people were coming from everywhere, all the 5 boroughs, surrounding cities, even as far as Miami, North Carolina. Everybody was coming up with these dope web series.
Yeah.
And there was a crew out of Brooklyn. Shout out to Project Heat, Pop and KD. They said, you know what? We need to be recognized for the hard work and stuff that we're putting in. So they created an award show. And the award show was authentic, pretty dope. And what it was established to recognize the creators, the actors, the music, the talent, everything. They covered all angles. And I think there was like maybe 3 award shows so far. And as long as you have content that is new at the time of the awards ceremony, you'll be allowed to participate. So the first year we had maybe 1 or 2 seasons done. The second time they put the award show out, we was working on a movie at the time, so we wasn't prepared. And then the following event that they had after that, our 3rd season was out. But during the first season, I did win an award for Best Writer amongst the competition that was up there. And that was definitely a moment that humbled me, because it is truly, truly hard work. Like, I was writing for a year, season 1. Season 2, I wrote for about a year. Season 3, I actually wrote for a year and a half. And it's just, hard work, because you could do a 5-minute scene and you might be filming that for 2.5 hours over and over and over.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, man, first of all, congratulations on that win. It's really humbling when you get recognized for the hard work and dedication you put into your craft. You don't know if people are looking. You're not doing it for recognition. You're doing it for the passion and love for what you're doing. So whenever somebody, sees what you're doing, acknowledges what you're doing, and actually, you got to sit at the table with these talented people, and you're recognized, man, that's very humbling. So congratulations on that, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Once again, it's DJ Gatsby. You're welcome to talk to DJ Gatsby. My guest is Antoine Inch Thomas, aka Edenwald Inch, in the building. Very impressed with your work with the books, man, and with the web series as well.
Thank you.
Now, you said you were working on a movie. I heard that during that conversation. While you were working on the web series, now, do you have a movie out, or you had a movie you're working on, or in the process of producing?
Well, in between, so I put out 3 seasons of 848. 3.
Okay.
In between season 1 and 2, I had written the screenplay for my best-selling book, which was Flowers Bed.
Okay.
And we started filming the movie in between season 1 and season 2. And I was also writing season 3. So when we got halfway through the movie, I had completed writing season 3. And I had wrote for approximately 18 weeks, every day. From New Year's Day to like Easter Sunday, I finished. But I wasn't, it was done. Of course, I added more to it. But anyway, I was like, yo, I'm complete. I said, look, this is going to be huge. And we need to start filming this season now. So we put the movie on hold. And put the movie on hold, and we got into season 3. During the filming of season 3, meeting people who were in the film industry, I learned that I needed some better equipment in order to step my game up to be able to be featured on bigger platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime. So that was the goal. We were doing the series for free. It was costly to us, but we weren't making any money off of it. So now we have to turn it into a business and start earning an income for all of the hard work that everybody's putting in. I want them to be compensated. So we bought some new equipment, and we started filming the movie right before we was filming the movie over, based off the book Flowers Bed. No, matter of fact, we started filming 848 the movie, but we're gonna go back to Flowers Bed the movie, and then the sequel to Flowers Bed, which is Black Roses. We're gonna get with that. So I have 3 screenplays written for 3 movies that we started January of this year, right before COVID hit, and then COVID kind of put us on pause. So soon as this thing lifts and it's safe enough for everybody to film and for everybody to be in close proximity with one another and be completely safe, then we're gonna get back to it.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that question. How's the COVID epidemic, affected your business and your ability to keep working? Since I saw all the information about the film, so you pretty much put the whole film projects on hold right now. What do you have going on besides that? Because you got the films on hold. You have any new books coming out? What else are you doing, man? Because I don't know. You got a clothing line. I saw all kind of 848 gear and apparel and everything, man. Talk about that. What's with this 848, phenomenon and with the gear? What is 848? Is that an area code? Is that what is that?
Yeah, everybody asks what is 848. 848 is actually a statute. So when people are committing crimes and they get arrested for these crimes, when they you charge with whatever the crime is called, but there's also a statute that represents the name of that charge. So if somebody's arrested, let's just say for murder in New York City, the statute number is 125.25. Okay. Now, in the big leagues with the feds, 848 is a statute for kingpin status. Okay. Now, when I wrote
in the law books, on the books, that's how it looks. If somebody's looking up these crimes or these charges, that's what in the law books. Okay.
Yes, sir. So, like people who've been watching Power this new season, the actress Tasha, she was charged with 848, kingpin, female kingpin. In the real world, El Chapo, he was charged and convicted with 848. John Gotti was charged and convicted with 848. Yeah. The reason I named the show 848 is because, for one, it's something that's easy to remember. It sounds familiar because there was a show out at one point called First 48.
I remember First 48, man.
So some people can get it confused, but I didn't really adopt it from the First 48 film. I was, familiar with the feds and familiar with the charge 848. And I said, when I created this show, I wanted every element of the show, all of the characters to, at some point, if possible, be able to be charged with 848 or affiliated with some type of kingpin.
What you mean the crimes they committed? Now that we tell me what the 848 stands for, what is the premise of the web series? Because we didn't get a chance to set that up or get a description of what the show was about. But give my viewers an idea of what the 848 web series and or film is trying to portray when they get a chance to see it.
So it's a crime drama based out of the Bronx, New York, and it's about a group of individuals, specifically 5 guys, 2 women, and they're basically trying to take over the entire Bronx with their drug operation, and they met from time to time with adversaries all over. And throughout their journey of trying to take over the Bronx, the crew themselves, which they're called the cleanup crew, they have individual issues going on that they have to deal with while dealing with all the drama that's around them because they're trying to take over the street.
Wow, it's like a crime syndicate, cartel. It's just, they're a drug gang or a drug drug enterprise, and but it got a personal touches to it, man. I'm definitely want to get looking now. It's still on YouTube now. Oh,
yes, sir.
Can watch?
It's still on YouTube. It's completely free. All 3 seasons are up. I also recently, shortly after, no, before the pandemic, I also developed a documentary, because a lot of people on social media, on my platforms, they didn't know who I was or where I came from. Some people were familiar with my book, and then they started watching. Some people were only introduced to me through the web series, and they may have wondered, like, where dude came from, or how easy was it to establish something like this? Like, how did he just come out of nowhere and come up with a web series, and boom, he got all these followers, all these views. So I wanted to let the people know with my documentary where I came from, some of the struggles I endured, and some of the things I overcame to inspire other people. Look, if I've been through it, and I'm a real person, and the issues that I went through are real, and they were tough, you can also, do the same things I did.
Yeah, that's what drove me to invite you to be on the show, because, as I said, I've been around the book game for a while. I had a TV show, I had a Blog Talk radio show. I lived in New York. I'm actually from New York. Lived in DC, lived in Miami. I met with tons and tons of urban street lit authors: Treasure Blue, Ashton Jaquavis, Quan, Wahida Clark, J.M. Benjamin. The list goes on. I'm not really good at dropping names, but I met them when they were basically signed to Cash Money Content, and I got a chance to interview them. So as I did the research on you, and I'm looking at your pages and your pictures, I'm seeing you, with a lot of the same authors. And I said the same thing. Like, who is this dude? Where is he from? I haven't heard about him. How does he go from being an author to doing a web series and working on movies? And then one of the pictures that I was going to use to post for the promotion, you had like a table full of books. You said you published 17 books. So, you're right. I'm thinking, dude just got popularity from the Bronx, eating more projects or something. He just, I didn't see the hard work behind the success. So I wanted to get you on the show so you could get a chance to tell your fans and, readers and viewers about the hard work that you had to put in to get where you are today. And again, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, so listen, we got a few more minutes in the show. What can people look forward to you, man, as far as books, web series, or films, as we come out of the COVID crisis here? What's on deck? What projects you look to work on and people can look for in 2021?
Well, like I said, COVID slowed down or stopped our production with the A48 movie. And the A48 movie is going to talk about how the cleanup crew was established. Because on season 1, when people are introduced to season 1, the crew is already exists. We are already drug dealers. We already doing our thing from the first episode of season 1. The movie is going to talk about how we met each other, and it's going to bring everything full circle. So we definitely going to get back to the movie. We filmed like 2 scenes already, and like I said, COVID shut it down. So those are still good. We're going to continue that. We're going to go directly into Flowers Bed immediately after that. Immediately after that, we're going to go into Black Roses. I'm sure when we start working again, I'll be inspired to continue writing. I might even do another season of A48 because I loved it. That's like my baby. I was able to bring so many people into the fold. Like, each one of the seasons probably have maybe like 40 or 50 characters in it. Yeah, and these are people who are...
I like it about these projects, man. You bring people from the hood, family, friends, co-workers, you give them a chance to be in the movie business, and a lot of them on the fly. And I really like that about these Black films and web series, man. They're giving brothers, people of color, an opportunity to get into that genre, man. To be a part of what's going on, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Listen, once again, it's DJ Gatsby, the talk show with Antoine Inch Thomas, Edenmore Inch in the building. Yo, we got to wrap it up, man. Thanks for coming on. I'm a huge fan. I'm going to start reading the books. I'm definitely going to take some time to look at the web series. And promise when you come back on the show in the future, man. I just really launched this this online virtual TV shows, interviews this week. Did a few before, man, but I'm kind of glad I got you on early because when I see the books, the web series, and the films, these are the type of things that my followers or viewers are interested in, because everybody writes books, everybody wants to write movies, everybody wants to write screenplays and web series, and it's good when they get a chance to talk to people or watch interviews with people who've actually done those things and been successful. So, yo, kudos to you. Hats off to you and your whole team, man, over there, and your family, man. Anything you want to say? Shout outs before we end the show?
Absolutely. I want to shout out the 848 family, my nephew Nitty, my co-worker in this game, Pretty. Want to shout out 25, Egypt, Moon. Rest in peace to my brother Ty. He was one of the main characters who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. Shout out to them. Shout out to all of the fans, all of the supporters, all of the viewers. You know, we wouldn't be here without you. Shout out to all of the other web series that's out there doing their thing, because I know there's still some people filming right now during COVID. You know, shout out to all of the hard work you guys are doing. I know it can be unsafe at times, so definitely be careful out there. And for all of the people out there who are new at writing a book, or you want to write a movie or a series or whatever it is, my advice is be original. You can be inspired by something else that's out there, but don't aspire to be what they are. Be who you are, be original, and work hard, because if you work hard and your work is good, it will speak for itself. Do not mimic anything anybody else is doing, and don't measure yourself against somebody else, especially somebody else who's been in the game for a while, and you just coming in and you wondering why you're not where they at, or you're wondering why your views is not where they at, because you may not know how long it took for them to get where they are, or how much hard work they had to put in, how much ass they had to kiss, how much blood, the sweat, the tears, how much money they had to spend, how many nights they had to stay up, the fights between co-stars and arguments, and all of the drama they had to go through. Be yourself, have your own experiences, never give up, accept criticism constructively. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Just do what you got to do. Hard work is going to pay off. Trust me.
Wow, man, listen, you need to add motivational speaker along with that acting and author and film producer, man. That was some very encouraging words out there. Once again, it's DJ Gatsby, a.k.a. Mr. Golden Sexy, in the building with Antoine Inch Thomas. Make sure you follow him on Instagram and Facebook. I know you got, other social media platforms they can follow him, but if you check with him on Facebook and Instagram, you'll get that information. Again, man, thanks for being on the show. Everybody, don't forget, tomorrow, Vanessa Green is going to be our guest, Black Lives Matter member. She's from New York. She's actually out in Cali now. She got some things that she's really doing that's really important to the Black community. Make sure you tune in and watch that show tomorrow right there at 6:30. Also, don't forget to register and vote. I don't know where you are in the country, whether registration is still going on, but if you are not registered, make sure you register and vote on November 3rd. Yo, Inch, whatever, my brother. Thank you. You know, I appreciate the love, support that you give me by being on the show. I know you're busy, got 1,000 things to do, and I appreciate you taking that time on your busy schedule to be a guest, man. Again, promise you come back on, and everybody watching. So on StreamYard, on Facebook Live, we're going to be loading right away to IGTV as well as YouTube. It's the DJ Gatsby Show. Peace.
Thank you very much. I'll be back. Absolutely.
All right.
Talk to you soon. All right.
Good night, everybody. Don't forget, tomorrow, 6:30 p.m., DJ Gatsby, the talk show. My guest will be Vanessa Green from New York, Black Lives Matter member. Peace.